I think of Christian Science as a way of life, and of course it has the word Christian in it, so it's based on the Bible and the life of Christ Jesus as a teacher and as a way shower to show us the way. And the science part of it is about how we don't just look at the work that Christ Jesus did, the healings, the teachings, and say, wow, that's great. We really want to know how he did what he did, and we really explore that how question deeply so that we can do it too. So we really take seriously the comment or the statement from Christ Jesus that when you understand me and understands the works that I do, greater works than these shall you do also. So we take that seriously, and we expect to be able to heal and to help others in a similar way. I mean, without having a definition of what that means, I would think for a study or a way of life like a religion, I would think that separation is where, for me, that would mean when it's no longer, I'm not just doing it to do it, but I decide for myself, is this something that I want to do? So I would call that making it my own. So I'm maybe separating from like either the wider world and deciding this is what I want, or separating from my parents and the way like historically my family has done something and really deciding for myself, is this what I want? Mm-hmm. For me, that's a big issue with adopting a way of thinking or a way of life. You have to make sure, like, is this really me? So for me, that's what the word separation would mean. I think for me, the liminality is making it a daily thing. That this isn't something that, oh, on Tuesday I go here, and on Wednesday I go to this thing at church. So it would be liminality would be making it a part and a fabric of who I am, and I think that's kind of an advanced step in Christian Science when it's not like something rote, but I think that's it, is making it really part of who I am and not so it doesn't become something that I have to try to do. Mm-hmm. Although I would imagine even with those monks, there's lots of things that they're having to constantly meditate to stay focused, and I find that I don't think it matters whether I've been practicing Christian Science for a year or whether I've been practicing Christian Science for 10 years or 20 years. There's always going to be a temptation to think in more worldly ways, or to let my thought drift down to just kind of I don't mean to say hateful, but there always seems to be things that want to irritate you. Mm-hmm. And liminality is really having that practice of really being able to stay focused and undisturbed. I think that's a major, so incorporation would be a major step for me, because I feel like with a prayer practice like Christian Science, where you're really studying the work of Christ Jesus, learning how he did what he did and trying to apply it, if I was so busy thinking about myself, it would be navel gazing. I could sit here and fix myself all I want, but that's not what Christ Jesus did. Mm-hmm. Christ Jesus did not go off on a hilltop and just sit and think on his own. Like, he only had a 3-year ministry, and yet we're still talking about his ministry 2,000 years later. If he had focused on himself alone, then, and he had just been some like guru on a rock, like we would not still be talking about it. So there's something about letting your light shine. And he was very clear. He says, I am the light of the world. And then later on he says, you are the light of the world. You prompt me and then I'll know what to do.
So after liminality, how do you incorporate it into the world?
Yeah, I shared that the basis of Christian Science is looking at what Christ Jesus did and then incorporating that or understanding how he did what he did and practicing it. And one of the ways that, when you look at what Christ Jesus did, is he didn't seclude himself or sequester himself. He went out into the world, into very uncomfortable places. He went right into the thick of it. And I feel like that's a big step to take. I mean, it's really easy to sit in my comfortable armchair, my comfortable bedroom, and read these really nice books and feel really happy about things. But to really go out into the world and be willing to help others, pray for others, heal others. It's scary. Is it Eleanor Roosevelt who said, do something scary every day?
Yeah, I think.
And in a way, especially today, I think practicing religion, using the word Christ Jesus in public, talking about the Bible in public, those are scary things. Like, in general, the world doesn't seem as supportive of those things. And I think for Christian Scientists, they're really reclaiming a primitive practice of Christianity, of saying that healing is possible and is normal and is natural. And there's a lot of the world that resists that and judges or gets